When the sirens wailed, people faced a stark choice: run or hide. In the age of aerial bombardment, running was often a fatal gamble. The sky had become a hunting ground, and human speed was no match for machines. Open streets and fields offered no protection. A new wisdom emerged, one borrowed from nature. Like badgers and foxes, people learned to go underground when danger threatened from above. The earth, once just the ground beneath their feet, became their shield. Families realized that depth, not speed, was their ally. Digging was not surrender. It was defiance. Across war-torn Europe, a quiet revolution began. Spades and shovels became tools of survival. The soil of gardens and cellars was transformed into potential fortresses. This was not a strategy from generals, but a grassroots solution. People took control, planning and building their own safety. The ground absorbed shockwaves, heat and shrapnel. By digging down, families held their ground, literally. The movement was silent but powerful. Ordinary earth became the raw material for resilience. Sometimes the best defense isn't to run or build up, but to dig down. In the face of destruction, the earth itself became hope. It started with farmers, people who knew the land intimately. When air raids became routine, they instinctively turned to the earth for protection. Root cellars became bunkers, trenches became shelters. Neighbors shared tips, and designs improved with experience. Drainage channels and arched roofs replaced simple holes. These shelters became underground extensions of the home, furnished, lived in and comforting. Stories and songs filled the darkness, turning fear into community. The family bunker, born from necessity and practical knowledge, became a symbol of ingenuity. Across the countryside, the earth sheltered hope and life. In Kent's Bomb Alley, the Marshall family faced nightly terror. Mr. Marshall, inspired by animal burrows, dug a curved, timber-lined shelter in his garden. He designed it with a narrow, angled entrance and a thick mound of earth above. One night, a bomb landed just meters away. The world outside was obliterated, their home, barn and trees gone. Inside the shelter, the family survived, shaken but alive. The earth had absorbed the blast. At dawn, Mr. Marshall emerged to devastation, but the shelter stood firm. Their survival was no accident. It was the result of careful design and trust in the ground. The humble mound in the garden had become a fortress. This was the power of digging for safety. The lesson was clear. The earth could save lives. Across the country, others took note. Survival underground was rooted in science. Earth's mass stops shrapnel and absorbs shockwaves. Unlike rigid walls, soil's loose particles dissipate explosive energy. Underground, the temperature stays stable, cool in summer, warm in winter. This protected families from both blasts and fire. Incendiary bombs raged above, but shelters below stayed safe. Nature had perfected this system over millennia. Wartime builders simply harnessed these properties. They weren't inventing new tech. They were applying ancient wisdom. The ground was more than dirt, it was a shield. With knowledge and effort, anyone could build protection. The science of survival was right beneath their feet. Digging a hole wasn't enough. Engineering mattered. The arched roof, inspired by nature and history, distributed weight and prevented collapse. Angled entrances deflected shock waves, keeping the main chamber safe. Emergency exits and ventilation pipes were essential for survival. Pipes were hidden and baffled to keep out blasts but let in air. Every detail, from drainage to camouflage, was considered. These weren't just holes, they were carefully crafted havens. Simple geometry and smart design turned Earth into sanctuary. Across Europe, shelters reflected local ingenuity. In Poland, families built ziemianki, clay-walled, camouflaged bunkers. In Finland, timber-rich Korsu shelters kept out cold and bombs alike. French and Belgian families dug into barns and cellars, using whatever materials were at hand. Each shelter was unique, shaped by its environment and the creativity of its builders. From clay to logs to limestone, ordinary people made extraordinary refugees. These shelters were more than protection. They were acts of resistance. Survival engineering became a shared language across a continent at war. Decades later, wartime shelters still surface across Europe. Gardeners and builders uncover them, time capsules of resilience. Inside, simple artifacts tell stories of fear, hope, and daily life underground. Many shelters remain structurally sound, protected by the very earth that saved them. Some are preserved as museums, offering a glimpse into the past. These shelters are more than relics, they're reminders of human ingenuity. They show that robust solutions don't require high-tech answers. The Earth's strength and clever design endure. The lessons from below ground are timeless. They whisper that resilience is built from the ground up. Today's threats are different. Climate disasters, blackouts, uncertainty. The old lessons are more relevant than ever. Earth shelters can protect against storms, heat, and chaos. Building underground is about self-reliance, not fear. Anyone can learn the basics. Use the Earth's mass, plan for drainage, and ventilate well. Materials are simple: soil, timber, basic tools. Modern shelters can be storm cellars, reinforced basements, or hillside retreats. By reclaiming these skills, we connect with a legacy of survival. The Earth remains our oldest, most reliable ally. Building a shelter is an act of hope and preparation. Choose stable, well-drained ground. Hillsides are ideal. Dig, separate topsoil for camouflage, and use subsoil for protection. Construct a strong arch frame with timber and corrugated metal. Waterproof, backfill, and add an angled entrance and ventilation. Plant native grasses to blend the shelter into the landscape. These structures are more than survival. They're about foresight and connection to timeless knowledge. Wartime families didn't just hide, they created safety. Their legacy teaches us that resilience is built with simple materials and smart design. By learning from the past, we root our future in enduring strength.